what do you tell your team after a loss like yesterday and having to turn right around and come back again?
We watched the tape about 11 o'clock in the morning so we could be done with it and move on to the next game. We showed them, I think, 15 or 16 one-foot shots we missed. We showed them defensive breakdowns. We showed them we had 25 offensive rebounds. Why no more breakouts? We reverted in a lot of areas. We went back to where we were, and Alabama played well. And I told them, man, teams are going to come and they're not going to play bad against us. And they made some shots, and now all of a sudden it's anybody's ball game. I like the fact that we fought to come back, and I said it after the game. But you just move on. I mean, we lost a couple games this way now. That, you know, you kind of have your chances to win and should win, and you don't. You give credit to the other team and you move on.
John, I remember you saying a couple of times there's not going to be blowouts. There's going to be down to the wire. And you've talked about closing games.
Yeah.
What are you looking for there in terms of?
Well, there were two things. We had some guys that were upset they missed shots late, and I said, listen, you gave up 2 offensive rebounds for baskets late. If we didn't give those up, that game wouldn't have been at 11. It would have been 7. Now all of a sudden it's a different game when you get it to 2 or 3, and instead of with a minute 25 left, it's a different ball game. Again, young kids don't understand that every possession matters as you wind down that clock, and you can't give them easy baskets. They'll make tough baskets, live with it, but you can't give them second shots. You can't give them, you can't miss one-footers. You can't walk on breakaways where you have a layup. You can't do those things. But it wasn't one guy. It's like I said, we weren't as willing passers as we've been. We threw 270 passes versus 325 against Louisville. How does that happen? Why so many less passes? Our spacing wasn't as good as it's been. But again, your spacing is good because you're worried about the big guy. Your spacing isn't good because you don't have the ball and you really don't worry about anybody but where you're standing. So all that kind of stuff we hit on, and you know, we came back yesterday and practiced, and they did great, and we're shooting free throws and walking through some stuff, and we'll practice this afternoon and get ready for a tough game. I mean, I watched them play Arkansas. They had Arkansas beat. Arkansas made 4 threes down the stretch, and they went 1 for 4 down the stretch from the 3. That's why they lost, or they would have beat Arkansas. So it's another tough game for us.
How close was the way Emmanuel played Saturday to what you want him to do?
Better. And we're trying to figure out, you know, what's interesting. I went to dinner last night with Dave Wall, who's a GM in the NBA, and he's saying that point guards are different. There are some that are slashers and get in the lane and get people, and there are others that are hit and slide away. Well, we got one of each. So we got a guy that should hit and slide and be ready to make a play, make a shot. One is really good on the ball defender. One is better off the ball defender. You can play them both together. So, but he's getting better, you know, and I'm holding him accountable. There's some things that we had in that game. It wasn't just him. When Reed had it going, I kept saying in these timeouts, on these pin downs, if Reed pins you down, get it back to him, throw it to him. We had 2 or 3 guys catch it and throw it the other way. He came off and walked. Well, wait, what were you? Are you in this huddle listening to what the team needs you to do? Not just one guy. It was, you know, and again, we just had reverted, and you know, I wish it didn't happen, but that's part of the growth of a program. They see, well, the way you're asking us to do this is really unselfish, and I'd like to be a little more involved, and it's really hard what you're asking me to do. I'd like to do it the easier way. So they'll revert. Now you have another tough game, and learn from that one, and let's see how they play.
John, it's a process, and you're going to always be young every year. You're going to take lumps along the way.
Hopefully not. Maybe we'll get old.
In your mind, how important is getting a high NCAA seed in terms of the success of the season?
But the reason you want a high seed, the higher seed you get, the better chance you have of winning, because the numbers say that, and I'm a numbers guy. So you want it to be as high as you're supposed to get, high as your team deserves to get, And that's why I get upset when we seem to be shortchanged. Why are we there? Why aren't we 2 notches up? That's why I go nuts. It has nothing to do with anything else. It's numbers. The higher you're seated, the talent around you is not as good as when you're seated low. The talent around you is, every game is touch and go. But that's why. And we'll look, there's a lot of basketball. We have as tough a schedule as anyone that has left. Now, bad news is you have as tough a schedule as anyone that is going to be left playing. Good news is you have an opportunity to beat ranked teams. You also got a chance to get beat by those ranked teams. But I've been in leagues where we had to win every single game we played. Now, I don't know if you heard what I just said. We could not lose any games because we weren't playing any ranked teams. So every game was you have to win, and the other team's Super Bowl, and every game came down to, wow, we got to make sure, but it made us strong for the NCAA tournament, but it's tough to play that way. Believe me when I tell you, we're not in that boat this year.
John, you've talked about clutter and shielding the players from clutter. I'm wondering about the clutter off of Alabama game.
I didn't see any. The issue for them, the clutter is what's near them, not social media and all that. The clutter is, that could be part of it, and if they're looking at social media, they're out of their minds anyway, but it's all that's near to them, and they just have to shut down all that stuff and focus on what they have to do for this team. And what you're asking them to do as the head coach is what's best for them and what's best for this team. And you have to sacrifice. Everybody's given up something. It's what makes this program what it is. There's not, just one guy doing everything. It's everybody gives up something. Now, what I hope is different games, different guys stand up. We have different stars, different games, so you can't really play one guy. But, these guys, the clutter has changed over the years based on what's at stake. Like, as this thing becomes bigger and bigger, what the pot of gold is for these guys, the clutter becomes even more. Every basket matters, and that's why I say you got to stay away from it. You can't listen to that. You stay in the moment, try to get better every day, do something away from the court, read a book. I've given them books to read. You cannot get caught up in what happens if I make this basket. If I make these 2 baskets, well, you ain't making them then. You can't. And if anybody around you is talking to you in those terms, you have to do this, you must do this, you have to hit the lottery. Go play that ticket, you must hit the lottery. Well, you ain't hitting the lottery. And that's why I say that's the kind of clutter. Just stay away from it. The social media, is there something I should have? I didn't see anything. I didn't, if anybody is mad, I feel bad that you're mad, but I don't read it and don't see it, so. I got one thing, is coach these kids.
John, how do you feel like PJ's playing right now?
Better.
What are you looking for?
Better. He's playing better. Again, I want him to be more dominant. Like the Louisville game, there was a 2.5, 3-minute stretch where he couldn't grab a ball, missed it. No, I want none of those. You eliminate that from the game, he ends up with a double-double and looks like a dominating player who can shoot and make free throws. Well, all of a sudden, wait a minute, how do they really guard you? They can't guard you in the post, they can't guard you on the perimeter. If they foul you, make free throws, and you rebound and you defend and you block shots. Be that guy every game. Ooh, is that hard? That's hard. And that's what we're asking. And I told him, I'm not accepting anything other than what his best is. So proud of him and what he's doing. Now we just gotta, this thing's game to game, and every game is a war.
You said you called that play for Reed to shoot the 3.
Yeah.
How have you been shooting in practice that gives you that confidence to call it?
I just told the guys today, look, he missed a 3, he missed a couple 1-footers, and he missed a free throw, and you still called the 3 for him. Because I know how much he's in this gym, and I have a lot of faith in him. Probably the chance of him making it weren't great, but it was wide open, and I knew it would be, and I wanted him to know, I got faith in you, go make it. Part of it is I was trying to get him going, make that 3, maybe, obviously didn't work that way, but
What
And
books have
PJ's
you-
three too. It was a call for PJ to shoot that three in front of our bench. That was a call. And did exactly what I thought they'd do. They both ran to the corner to Tyler, and PJ standing there wide open. I said, PJ, let it go. We were lucky enough, Reed got it, kicked it out, and we make a three off of it. But I have a lot of faith in these guys.
How much at this point in the season do you balance? Okay, I want to do stuff that's gonna. It may not work right now, but it's gonna help them down the road.
Well, the end of the game, we had been working on playing that way. And we've been working, and so we got the shots we wanted. We got the corner three. Keldon was wide open, just happened to miss it. We got what we wanted from how we have been preparing to play in late game situations, which we worked on, and you can see a little different than earlier in the year. And but now, here's what I told them today. Today's the last time we'll have anything morning-wise. This is it, because they start classes on Wednesday. Every Wednesday will be off. That means they're going to have, I think, 8 or 9 days off. We have 8 or 9 Thursdays. That's our practice day. That's what we have left. And then we got 18 todays, practices before a game. Well, what are you going to do the day before? What are you going to go 3 hours and beat the crap out of them, run the stadium steps? What are you going to do? You have, so now, what I'm basically saying, it's on now. We just went through camp. We should be conditioned. We did start slipping. We had slippage last game. Now we got to refocus and get back on track.
John, you got another one?
Yeah, what books did you give your players to read?
Life's Word, which is a book that was written, and it talks about instead of a New Year's resolution. How many of you have New Year's resolutions? Not many.
Yeah.
Some of you, it won't, within a month you'll be done. So just
It's
so you
already
know.
done.
It's already done, yeah, it's already done. We're 9 days in, you're out. So what this becomes is you pick a word that best describes what you're trying to accomplish, what your strengths and passions are, and something you need to work on. And so each of them picked a word for this year. And they thought them through because they were all pretty good words for themselves to keep them focused. And I know each word. So fight. You're the one that put that fight. Come on, man. Determination. Where's the determination? You're the one that picked but the book talks a little bit more in depth. So I gave them all a book. And I got another one. Ego is the enemy, that I'm not giving them yet, but I'm going to give them that book and let them read through and try to get them to think. And I say this, we're here, obviously, they're at a great university. These kids have done well academically. They know they have lifetime scholarships, all that good stuff. Then it becomes, okay, what are you teaching in basketball? Just plays? You're teaching them how to defend a pick and roll? Well, if you guys know, part of it is how you create joy, reaching out to others and being involved in others and picking up others. And the other side of it becomes creating opportunity for other people. Creates more for yourself. So there's more than just, you're trying to get a bigger picture for them. And if I can get them to think bigger than just play to play, I think it's beneficial. I know it is to them, and I think it is to your team.
What's your word?
Build. Build individuals, build the program, build day to day, stay in the moment, build. Build's not sprinting, build is build. And stay, you win or you learn, you move on. And let's go. And so it keeps me focused where I want to be.
All right, thanks guys.